Surprisingly based there. Question for the panel. Are you a feminist, and if so, what does that mean to you?
We'll go around the table on that. Do you consider yourself a feminist, and what does that mean to you?
I do consider myself a feminist. What does
that mean?
A feminist to me means that it's a recognition that there is inequality in the ways in which women and men are treated, and that there's a history of inequality. And it's the fight to reconcile those differences, not so that men and women are the same, but that they're given the same opportunities. And
so you think like women should have to register for the draft, for example? Because you believe in like equality between the sexes. So you think should women be able to be drafted for the military?
No, I don't. I think that there's a difference between sameness and fairness. I think sameness says, yes, women should be drafted in the military just like men should. Fairness is understanding that women can be taken advantage in ways that men will not be taken advantage of, like sexually. Women can be...
Men are actually also can be just taken advantage of in that way too.
So that's true. But given like the history of what it is to be a woman, it seems like women have more abuse when it comes to that. And women are also more susceptible, and we're also like the physically weaker sex. And so, yeah, and also our hormones are very different, like in the way in which I don't even know if all the women here at this table really understand like the infradian rhythm, like, because we're not taught about our cycle and the different hormones that we go through in a 28-day cycle. Yes, we know about our periods, but we don't, a lot of us are just now learning about like the follicular phase, the luteal phase, like, and how all of these different hormones affect our emotions, and understanding all of that. Like, there's a lack of knowledge and understanding when it comes to being a woman in general. So, yeah.
Okay, to back up a second, with your sameness and fairness thing, to be honest with you, it kind of sounds to me like you want equality as long as it's benefiting women, but when it's not benefiting women and men can take the brunt of it, you're like, that's cool. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. How do you see that?
Well, I mean, if we lived in like a properly feminist world, there wouldn't be affirmative action initiatives to put more women in positions of like workplace positions and in academic positions. If we had a truly equal world, women, like I said, would get drafted into the military. Like, I think if feminists want to truly fight for equality, it's like, put your money where your mouth is. But if you only want equality when it's benefiting you, then it's not, you don't actually want equality, you just want a world that benefits women more often.
Saint_Easy donated $99. I don't understand why men are confused about playing the provider role. Women get pregnant, and for the better part of a year they are more or less immobilized and dependent on their partner. Gender roles exist for a reason. It's not that hard to figure.
If it's too much for too long, we'll boost it. I think you're about to respond. Thank you, Saint.
To this question?
No.
Oh.
Just to what I just said.
So, do you want me to specifically address?
It just seems to me like feminists want equality where it benefits them, but when it comes to actual equality, like working all of the roughest jobs in the world, for example, that are extremely dangerous and high risk, like when it comes to those jobs, feminists never want equality there. They only want equality in the places where it benefits them. But when men have to pick up the rest of the slack, they're like, "Yep, that's fine. Like, we don't want equality there. You go do that, men." You know, it's like I don't think you actually want equality. I think you just want more benefits for women.
If you're defining equality as
equal outcomes throughout society.
Equal outcomes throughout society.
What do you mean, equal opportunity, or
no? Like
we all do the exact same thing.
Women talk about wanting equality throughout society, but
I think equality is a tough term because if by equality
do you want equal opportunity instead?
I think whatever you're talking about, like defining equality as...
Do you want equality of outcome or equality of opportunity?
I would say that I don't think that women are fighting for... okay, so...
Do you want equality of outcome or equality of opportunity? Because I'm talking about equality of outcome. But if you want what many feminists want, which is equality of opportunity, I guess the question I have is, what opportunities do I have that you don't?
Okay, I would say that this is how I would respond to that answer. I think that,
Grid
Telling
One
you we should
Motorsport
raise the
donated
TTS. This is crazy.
$100. Well, that was short-lived. Men are more likely to be sick than women. Women have rights men do not have. Men have no parental rights. Feminism has failed you. How can the patriarchy help you today?
If it does it like more, we'll boost it. Go ahead.
Okay. I think that women were in a position for a very long time where we were being treated very horribly, and we still are in positions where we're treated very unfairly and very horribly.
Well, how so?
Well, what evidence do you have that throughout history, broadly speaking, all women or most women were treated, I think, did you say poorly or unfairly?
I think she said horribly.
Horribly. It's not clear to me if women were specifically because of their gender or just because they were women or happened to be women that they were treated horribly.
I mean, there were people who were being burned at the stake because someone called them a
Like
witch.
the Salem witch trials?
Yeah, like that I would
There were
say is
also
unfair.
like men who were enslaved and forced into conscripted labor and military service that women were protected from.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't bad for men, but I would say that there are just, yeah.
I think before we continue, because the initial question was asking everybody if you consider yourself a feminist, why don't we just go around the table, get everybody's answer to that.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a feminist, and what does that mean to you?
Yes. And to me, I think that means equal opportunity, also outcome though, right? Because honestly, at the end of the day, if a woman does want to be drafted or does want to go fight for our country, why not let her? Yeah, like
it's not about women not being able to serve. It's more that men have to register for the selective service and women don't have
well,
to.
I think the argument is like, might as well then make it equal though, right? Because
So you think women should be drafted for the military?
in order to prove this point, sure, we can say that, just because.
I think that's a terrible idea.
I mean, but the thing is, you're
I'm for it.
because the
I'm
thing.
absolutely not
But
for it.
anatomy-
I don't want my daughters getting drafted.
Well,
as
yeah.
Okay, wait, so.
But
sorry. After you go.
anatomy-wise, like Pro was saying, we're born not as strong upper body-wise. Like, for example, like I knew this one lady, I forget her name, but she was like this karate instructor, and I saw her do more push-ups than all these men that were like jacked. But the way she had to work so much harder to get it like that than them, because it is a little bit like naturally easier for a man to bulk up doing upper body stuff, whatever.
It's not just a
it's
little
just like
bit,
It's a
yeah,
lot.
right. So I feel like when it comes to, you're addressing a lot of physical jobs, right? So I feel like in now flipping the script of like a lot of caregiver jobs, I feel like women have, and you guys can't give birth. We can never give you that, like as a thing to do. Like we will always be the person to bear a child and go through that and put our bodies through that. So it's like at the end of the day, complete equal everything is technically not possible if you're talking about physical jobs, physical things, because anatomy wise, genetically, we are different. So it's like there's only so far that argument, we're gonna reach a ceiling with that stuff. But when it comes to opportunity, like, and what Pro was saying, I feel like going off of that, as I'm in the music industry, I go to a lot of talks, I see a lot of women that have gained very, very powerful roles in the music industry, but it's like 1 in 5 on the panel where there's like an A&R that's a woman, and the way she explains how she got there and how she, you know, a lot of the time is in a room full of men, and it takes a very, I think, well-rounded, educated group of people to, when a woman speaks up in the room, treat her and respect her word just as much as a man. I think I do see that a lot, and sometimes it's subconscious as well. So I think it's bringing everything to a conscious state of when a woman speaks and a man speaks at an equal educational level. Let's say you respect both their word evenly. Like that is what feminism is to me.
And do you think that because you used female A&R, that's art? Something in repertoire? What is that?
An A&R works at a label and kind of like scouts new talent,
Yeah,
listens to music.
What does it stand for though? I think it's blank. I forgot what the A stands for, but it's blank in repertoire. Do you think that this discrepancy is due to sexism?
Somewhat maybe.
Okay. Do you think the fact that, for example, that women earn more in modeling, or that women earn more in the sex work industry, do you think that that's evidence of sexism against men?
I mean, I don't know much. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, and I do want to go around the table, get everyone's answer on this, just to add on one thing. Do you think, for example, women's NBA or women's soccer, the fact that they get paid less, or women's tennis, for example,
You think that's unfair?
do you think that that's unfair or evidence of sexism?
I mean, I do, because if I'm looking at the work that a person does, like if like a female soccer player, why is she not getting paid just as much as a male soccer player?
Do you want to know the answer to that?
Well, I know.
Maybe we have everyone else give their take on that. But so here, let's go around the table. Are you feminist? What does that mean to you? What do you think about women getting paid less in the WNBA, soccer, athletic fields, etc.?
I'm not a feminist. I definitely like more traditional
Based.
but I guess for me, I think in today's world, like men just like they want that kind of woman without being like the type of man that deserves that kind of woman, right? It's like if you want me to rub your feet, make your food, wash your clothes, all that stuff, but yet you're not providing for me, you're not even giving me like you're not even making me a priority, right? So I don't know. I guess I feel like that part is like lost on, I don't know, this generation.
You
under
want
me.
a traditional world where women can be traditional and the men are also traditional, and they're actually living up to those values.
Definitely. Like
Okay.
if I had a man that was actually living up to those values, I would.
Not a dude who's like afraid to go into the dispensary.
I want to be clear. He's not a bad guy. He's not. He's just different personalities. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but a feminist is someone I think who believes in women's rights and really advocates for them, right? I'm just unfortunately I wouldn't consider myself one, and I think that the WNBA don't get it because it's like views, right? Like there's way more views for the NBA, so it's like the money that people are putting into it. It's like
Yes.
not as much.
Yes. Okay. Would you consider yourself a feminist?
I don't think I would consider myself a feminist. I support women, but I guess I just don't identify with the current feminist values.
Why is that?
I feel like modern feminism, I mean, I'm totally cool not getting drafted. I don't want to get
good.
drafted.
As you should be.
I do not want to.
Yes.
I'm okay with not being completely equal.
Yep.
I think it works out better.
Yeah, it's good for a society
way.
to protect its women from war.
I think so.
Yeah. We shouldn't send them into the meat grinder.
I don't want to go.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair and reasonable as well.
But again,
They want to go to war though.
That's not what we said.
I'm kidding.
but yeah, I support women. But I'm cool not being totally, completely like equal.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Cool. How about yourself? Would you consider yourself a feminist?
I'm gonna preface this by saying that I am not educated in the matter, but
Okay.
I am more like Jacqueline, where I'm very traditional. I am also, which is kind of like contradictory, I'm also very independent. Like I have my own full-time job. I don't need a man to rely on for money or anything. But also at the same time, I grew up traditional, so I don't know anything else, to be quite honest.
Sweet. Cool. How about yourself?
I'm not a feminist. I do believe in equal opportunity, but I don't think that it makes sense for us to advocate for that in today's society.
Why are you not a feminist?
Because women already have all the opportunities men have.
Do you feel like feminism was like a healthy movement? Do you feel like it's become unhealthy at this point?
Yeah, it's toxic.
Why is it toxic?
Because it's making men feminine and women masculine.
So true. So true. How about yourself?
I don't think I'm a feminist, but I wouldn't consider myself like traditional because I wouldn't want to stay home. I think like both genders should have like kind of like if they're smart and if they're really good at like coding, for example, then I think they should get into coding. But I don't think if you're
Speak into the mic a little bit more.
If you're like not qualified for the job, I don't think you should be selected just because you're like a woman or like man.
So you feel like if a woman's qualified for a job, she should be able to get it?
Yeah, if she's actually qualified.
Do you intend on having a family someday?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to have kids?
Yeah.
Would you want to keep working while you're pregnant and stuff?
Well, I code. I can just code at home.
Okay. Cool. How about yourself, Emily? Feminist?
No, I wouldn't consider myself a feminist. I don't really like the new wave. I mean, people talk about like third wave, fourth wave feminism. There's just like too many. I feel like women already have all of the equal opportunity that we need and that we wanted, but now it's begun to like take this sort of turn where it's like we want to support all women, but it's not women we're always supporting. So I would say I'd rather protect women, and no, I don't want to get drafted. So.
What do you mean it's not always women who you're supporting, Emily?
So I'd say I see more.
Are you telling me it hurts women for trans women to go into their bathrooms? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah, I think it hurts women for feminists to support that movement because you're putting women in an unsafe situation 9 times out of 10. And yeah, most often than not, I see the feminists supporting that kind of thing, so I wouldn't really identify myself with that.
Are you telling me that feminism has gone way too far?
Yeah, it's not even like the same thing it was back in the 60s or anything.
Are you telling me it's low-key destroying our modern world?
I think you're pretty base, yeah.
We're back.
Yeah.
We're back.